everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany. This is the Brittany React Show. And on this show we have a lot of good things to talk about actually. We're gonna review Venom. If you watched my short that I posted last night, you'll know my thoughts on that movie. Did not like it, just spoiler alert, straight up front, did not like this movie at all. But we also have a lot of delays and cancellations, like with the Blade movie, but also with the Ray movie as well. So we have to talk about that. We have to talk about the fact that Tom Holland has been cast in a Christopher Nolan movie. That's huge for him. And I want to give you my thoughts on the Agatha series so far. So those are some of the things we're going to talk about in this show today, but we're also going to talk about some other things. How are you guys doing? Hi Check, hi Burning Daylighter, hi Prototype, hi Ageman, hi Full Stack Dreamer, hi Fake Mustache, hi Will French, hi Alexander, hi Vincent, hi the Boy, hi Fake Mast. I already said that. Hi Blue Gecko Nerd, and thank you to each and every one of you who comes to my show every day. Deeply, deeply appreciate it. You guys are the best. Before we get straight into the news, I do want to do one thing real quick. I just remembered as I was going through the list of things to discuss that I actually forgot to add something. So give me a second. Oh Lord. I'm still going through tech issues. I'm sorry. You guys know it's not our show on this channel without some sort of issue. What on earth? Okay. 1 second, guys. Sorry about this. I know, super profesh. You guys come here for the most professional stuff. I don't understand what's going on. It's not showing my mouse. I don't even know. I get the weirdest tech issues, random stuff. I just don't understand how this even happened. Okay. Anyway, that should be it for now. Why? What's going on? Okay. I'm sorry you all had to say that. Anyway, anyone who's watching on the replay, you can just skip ahead of all of that. Sorry my live folks had to say that. Anyway, let's just get straight into the news. Where? My mouse. Don't understand. Okay. Now I have it. So let's start with the box office. So Venom's not doing well. Venom's not doing well at all. It earned only $22 million in the film's domestic box office opening, which is the lowest opening day for any movie in the franchise. It's now tracking to earn between $45 to $50 million domestic opening weekend, which is way, 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 way underperforming expectations. So you guys remember, I actually talked about what the projections were for this movie a little while ago, and a couple of weeks ago they were very hopeful and optimistic that this movie could even open over $100 million, which I was like, I don't see that happening. I told you guys that would have been incredible if that happened. But it obviously that's not what ended up happening. In fact, the projections just kept going down. The last time I told you guys projections for this movie, they were hoping for around $70 million. So the fact that this could open below 50 just shows you that, I think word of mouth is kicking in, but I also think that, I think this franchise is just spent, as you guys know, deeply, deeply hated the last movie, the last Venom movie. I really thought it was awful. So awful that the only reason I even saw this Venom movie was just so I could review it on the channel. It completely soured my entire taste and opinion on the Venom franchise, and I liked the first Venom movie, I really did, but I thought the second one was just so bad. I'm not surprised a lot of people stay away from the third. Who here actually watched Venom, and what did you think of it? Will says, why is there another Venom movie? Well, they made another because the last two, to be fair, made money. Because, the second one made money because the first one was actually good, and the first one was a sort of a novelty. But the third one, it's paying for the sins of the second one, so that's why I think it's doing this badly. There is some dancing, Evil Connor. We'll talk about that in the review. Red Star says, I honestly think Venom would have done better as a series. Maybe. I understand why they kept going. I mean, the first one was so successful. They just really drove this franchise into the ground. Prototype says, I haven't seen them, but I watch reviews for every movie. It seems like they got progressively more bad. Sony really can't help themselves. Yeah, I mean, we still have the Craven movie coming up, and it's in the same vein as like this and Madam Web and Morbius and all of them. So I have zero hopes that Craven will be a decent movie because they haven't made a decent Spider-Man spin-off film since the first Venom, and that was like in 2018 at this point. So I don't think that my expectations are very high for that movie. If this doesn't sink this sort of weird Spider-Man villain strategy they've got going on, hopefully Craven will do that, because they really got to stop this. I think it's a mess. And most people do too, by the way. Like, this is not even doing well with audiences. It got a B- cinema score. A B-, y'all. Y'all know on this channel that that's not a good score for a comic book film. A B-, not even a B. Just a B-. That's almost a C, y'all. That's almost a C for a comic book movie, which is very rare. So you know this movie's bad when it's at a B-. A B-. And Rotten Tomatoes is not much better, although for some reason the audience critic is, like, the audience score is way higher. I always tell you guys not to pay attention to the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes because it can be easily manipulated. So I would just ignore that. I think the critic score is far more accurate with this movie. I think it's not a good movie at all. I think it's quite bad. In fact, a lot of comic book fare this year has not been well received. Really, it's just been Deadpool and Wolverine, and even that got a 78%. Madam Web got an 11%. The Crow got 23%. Hellboy got 41%. Joker 2 got 32%, and now we're at 37% with Venom. So it's been a pretty bad year, I would say, for comic book movies. Not just in that they haven't been doing well, but also because they haven't been received well. So this is not the kind of year comic book movies needed, especially coming off of last year with like the Marvels and the Flash. Like, they really needed to have some big solid hits this year, both critically and commercially, to get the genre back on track. But it does not look like this is going to be the year for that. Maybe next year, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, not been a good year for comic book movies in my opinion. Will says, I usually think the critic score is off on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, that's why when I give you critic scores, I usually rarely give you Rotten Tomatoes scores. I usually give you like just the cinema score, because I find that to be way more useful. This is embarrassing, yeah. And I think all of these were graded fairly, to be honest. Even Deadpool. Like, as you guys know, I didn't love Deadpool. I thought it was just okay. The only thing that I think is maybe judged a little harshly is that I like Joker 2 more than most, but yeah, I don't think it's been a good year for comic book movies. And let's get into my review now, because I have a lot that I want to talk about in this movie. This stupid movie. Y'all, what was this movie? Can we talk about Venom? I just want to talk, okay? Again, if you watched my short, I was very clear about my thoughts and how I thought this was worse than Madam Web. And in fact, I said Madam Web looks Oscar-worthy compared to this. Now that I've had some time to reflect, I think they're on the same level. I don't know. Madam Web was pretty bad. But this is not good. It's really not good. Yes, I like Joker 2 more than this. Okay? Let me explain why I really hated this movie. Firstly, you guys, you should know by now that plot really means a lot to me. Like, I love a good story and a tight script, and I would not describe this movie as something that has a good plot or a tight script at all. Quite the opposite. In fact, hold on. Oh, no. Ah. No. Okay. In fact, we start off with Ed Hardy. Not Ed Hardy. I keep saying Ed Hardy. Why do I keep doing that? Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy. He's in that bar where he got, like, zipped into the MCU universe, you guys know, in that end credit sequence. So that's how they start off with this movie, kind of explaining that he's getting zapped back into his real universe from the Marvel universe. So he was only ever in the Marvel universe for, like, a hot second, which is really weird. Like, I don't know why they did that. Honestly, that whole thing makes no sense in retrospect. Like, why did you bring him into the MCU if you were only going to immediately bring him out? Like, he was literally there for a second, and I don't even know what that was for. It just seems like maybe at some point they had plans for him in the MCU, but then someone changed their mind, and so they had to kind of awkwardly redo it. Because that's how it comes across to me. It just seems like maybe it was a mistake to have him break into the MCU, because he doesn't do anything there. They zap him immediately back into his Sony universe, and he stays there for the rest of the movie. And they even mention the multiverse for the rest of the movie. Like, the dude, okay, before Venom happened to him, this dude was just like a normal guy, right? Just like an average dude. You would think, like, being zapped through a whirlpool, like, you know, spinning energy thing. They have, like, a lot of those knockoff, like, portals from Doctor Strange, which is really funny. Like, you would think this dude would just have his mind blown that he just was, like, in a parallel universe, right? But no, it's never mentioned again, never brought up. It's literally kind of like they knew they made a mistake, and this is how they fixed it in a very weird, ham-fisted, doesn't kind of make sense way. It was very, very weird. I was like, really? That's all we're gonna do here? Okay. Anyway, whatever. So then he ends up in the desert, and he's lost, basically, and he can't turn into his full self as Venom, because if he does that, he will trigger something called the Codex, which will trigger this, you know, far-off alien that kind of looked like, in my opinion, like the Venom version of Thanos. Like, it will cause this big bad to find out where he is, and that's why he can't become the full Venom. And so he has to find his way back home without basically the help of Venom that much. Or at least he can't, like, become the full Venom. And so a lot of this movie is just him kind of making his way on this long road trip. It's kind of a road trip movie in a sense. Like, he spends a lot of time in the desert. He spends a lot of time in Area 51, which we'll talk about in a second. But not a lot of, like... I would say this plot is, like, super thin in the sense that not a lot happens. Like, he kind of, like, ends up in the desert. He goes to Vegas for a bit. Then he goes to Area 51, and then the movie's over. Like, that's it. Like, nothing really happens. You don't need to see this movie. This movie is, like, the definition of just, like, stuff happens, and then the movie ends. Like, nothing of real importance happens the entire movie. Like, you can not see this movie and you won't miss anything about this character. Even if you liked this character, you don't really learn anything new about him. It's just there. This movie is just kind of there. Any thoughts so far on anything that I've said? Edgeman says, didn't he leave a little bit of the symbiote? Yep, that's true, Edgeman. If you're talking about the bar scene, we did see that there was, like, a little bit of the symbiote that was left behind. So if that's really Tom Hardy's entire contribution to the MCU, it's getting blipped in there for a second just to leave behind a little bit of symbiote juice and then leave, then that's so lame. That's just so lame. Like, what a waste of Tom Hardy. Like, I'm sorry. I think that's so lame. Red Star says he'd rather Sony focus on another Uncharted movie. I didn't even think Uncharted was that good, to be honest. And I really like Tom Holland, but he does not make a convincing adult in that movie. Like, he still looks very much like a Spider-Man kid in that film. And, like, he plays off of, like, what's his name? What's, the the other dude in Uncharted. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but it's just like you have like this very clear adult, and then you have Tom Holland, who is supposed to be an adult, but still very much looks like a kid, and it was a weird movie for me. But anyway, very, very strange movie. Okay, so getting back to the review. So, this is the Nolan guy. This is the guy that I was telling you was kind of like the Venom version of Thanos, because he's like off in the space somewhere on some big chair that he just sits on for the entire movie. He doesn't do anything. He never leaves this chair. It's just the movie occasionally goes to him, and he's just in this chair, kind of looking very moody and mopey. But he's supposed to be ominous and scary, and that's what, Venom and Tom Hardy are like scared of, and that's why they can't like become the full Venom. Very, very weird movie. Very, very strange. It's very, like, a lot of the Venom movies are old school, like in the 90s or whatever, but like this movie is like old school in a very bad way. But anyway, then Tom Hardy comes across this stupid family. And I'm sorry, yes, I'm being mean to this family, because these parents are terrible. Like, he's out in the wilderness wandering around, right? And he comes across this hippie family who are just like camping in the woods. And the dad's like, I want to go see some aliens, so we're off to Area 51. You want to ride? And the only one with sense in the entire family is the teenage girl. And she's like, Dad, why are we picking up a random stranger in the woods and like inviting him into our car? And both the parents are just like, it's vibes, it's okay. And I'm just like, who are you people? This is weird. Like, why would you pick up this random dude? And this family comes back later in this story, so they actually are important for what little plot exists in this movie. But just, you need to know that he comes across this random ass family, and they're like, yeah, we'll take you to Vegas or whatever. So they do drop him off at Vegas. And he ends up, like, knocking out a bunch of people and, like, stealing the suit. And, like, there is some fun that's had here. Like, I guess the Vegas parts are probably some of the best scenes in the movie. But then it gets super stupid. Because guess what happens next? You guys know that woman who owns the convenience center that's always in that same gag they had in the last two movies? Like, the Asian woman? Well, she's in Vegas on some vacation. And remember how I just said that, like, Venom can't go full Venom because then they'll be found by that big scary Thanos-looking dude? Well, he decides to go full Venom so he can dance with the lady. No other reason. It's not explained like he had to do that. It's literally just Venom being stupid. So he decides to just break all the rules, go full Venom, and he's now dancing with that lady. Mrs. Chen. Yes, Mrs. Chen is her name. Why? Why? If you know you're being hunted by some big scary alien dude and all you have to do is not go full Venom, why does he suddenly break all the rules just to go dancing? It's not even to, like, save anyone. It's not, he doesn't do it to, like, for any noble reason. It's literally just because he's stupid. It's literally just because he's stupid. And it's like, really? This is why? Okay, whatever. But anyway, of course, they get discovered because he did a thing he wasn't supposed to do. So, yes, this is the dancing in the movie, believe it or not. This right here is the dancing. So, they get these, like, weird-looking... Honestly, I think they look kind of ugly. This Nolan guy sends these, like, alien creatures after them, and they have to escape from Vegas, and they all kind of end up, like, convening around Area 51, because there are these scientists there, because, in this universe, Area 51 actually does keep, like, hidden aliens and stuff, but they're working on, like, a lot of symbiote stuff, so they have, like, a lot of symbiotes there, so I guess, like, they're all trying to meet up at Area 51 to free these symbiotes. And so the last, like, third act of this movie is just, like, the longest battle sequence known to mankind. And it's not even an interesting battle sequence. I swear to you, it was like, I'm not even trying to be dramatic when I'm saying, like, if you don't understand anything, that's okay. Because this movie doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. So, this sequence went on for so long that I kept reaching over to the person next to me, and I was like, is this still going? This is still going, right? Like, you could have gone up to go to the bathroom and came back, and this sequence would still be going, okay? Like, it's literally like the entire third act is just this one Area 51 battle, and it's so overdrawn. It's actually quite boring. And it's stupid. You know why it's stupid? Because this family is here. This family. Remember that family that picked him up on the road and took him to Vegas? Well, they come back because, you know, the dad wanted to see aliens. So, the parents decide it's a good idea to break into Area 51. Literally, they, like, through like a kind of a hole in the gate, they, like, climb in through the gate, right? After hours. And they climb up to this, like, where they are in this picture right here is that they're at the top of this, like, seeing post or whatever it is. Sorry. And there's no one there, by the way. There's no one in this, like, Overwatch post at all. It's completely empty. Because, you know, this place is apparently not guarded at all. The security is god-awful in this place. But it's like, why did you bring your kids into Area 51? Why did you think it'd be a good idea to break into Area 51? And then, of course, they happen to be there right as there's, like, this big battle between all these symbiotes and aliens and stuff. And, like, lots of explosions happening. People are dying needlessly. I have to admit, these scientists here, I didn't care about these scientists at all. I gotta be real with y'all. I did not care about these scientists at all. Like, they were dying left and right, stuff was happening to them, and I was just like, who are you? I don't care. Your character was so boring. It wasn't written out well at all. Like, I didn't care about them. So it just made, like, the final action sequence just, like, really dumb. And I just couldn't get over the fact that this family was there. This random-ass family. Who shouldn't have been there. Just there's no explanation for why they do things other than just, like, because they're hippies. And I just feel it, like, I just felt, like, so frustrated by these parents. Because I was just like, you guys are awful. Do you care about the safety of your kids? Like, why are you just doing these things? Anyway. Eventually, Venom does die, saving everyone, obviously. So Venom and Tom Hardy do get separated. So, earlier in the film, they had discussed that Venom wanted to go to New York to see the Statue of Liberty. So, after Venom dies, Tom Hardy does end up going to New York, and this is at the very end of the movie. And the movie decides to, like, have this very cheesy montage where they go over a bunch of moments from the last two movies. And, like, it's like, this is not that kind of movie. You know? This is not that kind of franchise where you can have some, like, cheesy montage of all the nice moments over the years, and, like, I just thought it was super cheesy and dumb and, like, cringeworthy. I didn't think it was cute. I just thought that it just made the movie end on, like, a very cheesy note. And I was already not liking the movie. And yeah, and then it was done. That was Venom. If that sounds nonsense, if that sounds like it didn't make any sense, if that sounds like you were not understanding or you thought that was stupid, yeah, that's the movie. That's the movie. I just explained the movie. Maybe you understand why now I was just, like, so pissed off. I was really pissed off after I saw this movie, because I was like, I feel like I just wasted my time. Like, nothing happened. Nothing happens other than Venom dies. Okay, sure. But, like, that's the only consequential thing. And, like, it's not even played up for a huge moment. Like, you would think there would be a moment for Tom Hardy to really reflect and be, like, super devastated or whatever. But, like, the movie just moves on so quickly that it's like, oh, the movie's over. Like, they went through all of that and, like, that's how it ends? Like, you guys remember how in the first Venom, Tom Hardy was, like, this really big hotshot reporter? But then, like, everything just went wrong in his life once Venom got there, and, like, I thought these movies would eventually end with, like, Tom Hardy getting his life back together. But no. He ends the movie kind of being, like, the same weirdo he's been throughout the past 3 movies. Like, he hasn't got his job back. He didn't get his girlfriend back. He's still just kind of alone. He doesn't... I don't think he has a job, really. Like, what's he doing? Like, his life still pretty much sucks by the end of this movie. And, like, he doesn't get anything back that he had in the original movie. And it's just like, what was this character development? Like, I assumed wrongly that eventually Tom Hardy's character would, like, I don't know, like, get his life back on track, but that just never happens. They don't even bring up the whole, like, he's a reporter thing. Like, it's not brought up once. And I'm just like, did y'all forget that? Like, that was his profession? I'm just confused. I don't know. I didn't like it. As you can tell, I really didn't like this movie. Any thoughts, any comments before we move on? I've talked about this long enough. Does this movie have the AI feel? No. This movie is so bad, it's bad in a creative way. It's not a bad in, like, a way that AI could have done it. The random people wanted more screen time, that's why they were there. Oh, the scientists? Yeah, I didn't care about those scientists at all. Like, they just kept showing up, and I was like, why are you here? I didn't care at all. Prototype says this trilogy wasn't planned. Oh, that's very clear. There was obviously not a plan for this at all. Yeah, I will talk about Agatha in a minute. But yeah, the movie, not good. I have to, unfortunately, give this movie a 2 out of 10. Yep. That's how much I did not like this movie. I give it a 2 out of 10. So, can't recommend it. You can spend your time and money on other things, but this is not the one. This is not the one. Sorry, not sorry. Please go see anything else. Go see The Wild Robot again, or for the first time if you haven't seen it. But anyway, let's move on. Good news is that Wicked is still tracking to open quite big with somewhere between 100 to 125 million. And I think that it could even go higher than that, but I think these are conservative estimates. I am really happy about that. In Manhattan, in fact, I was just trying to reschedule my tickets. I had tickets, but then someone asked me if they wanted to go, so I tried to reschedule my tickets with them. And it's like, if you want to see this movie on an IMAX or Dolby screen, I'm pretty sure they're almost all still, like, sold out in Manhattan for the opening weekend. Because we couldn't find any. Like, we're not going in any sort of, like, premium screen at all because they're all filled. So yeah, I can see this movie doing very, very well. I think this movie's going to do extremely well. Cynthia Erivo antics aside, I think this movie will do very well. But yes. Any quick thoughts about Wicked before we move on? And I can review my Agatha show. Okay. Wicked is going to be big, but Gladiator needs to pack it up. Yeah, I actually think Gladiator is not looking good. Like, from a box office perspective, like, Gladiator is not... It's not tracking as well as, like, any other movie coming out during the Thanksgiving season. So, even though it's a very expensive movie, and I think it looks very good, I don't think that movie is going to do very well. I think it's... I don't know. People just don't seem to be interested. Yeah, I know. She is staring down the barrel of the camera. That's true. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are all excited. I think Wicked's going to do very well. Now, moving on to the next topic. Oh my gosh. What is going on? Just so you know, I cannot, like, see my mouse at all for some reason. Yeah. Very, very rude. So we have to talk about some AI news. Oh, what happened? That isn't it. Oh, I can finally see it. Oh, okay. I think it just finally fixed itself. 1 second, guys. Sorry. Today is full of tech issues. Alright, so AI news. I did want to tell you guys something about AI. I know not all of you want to hear about AI. Every time I talk about AI or bring it up, you guys are always like, no, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to hear it. But I'm telling you guys this because it's important, and although you don't want to hear it, it will impact the entertainment industry. And it's my job here on this live stream to tell you how it might impact things moving forward. So, Disney will reportedly announce a huge AI initiative that will transform its creative output, with a focus on post-production and visual effects. AI will also be integrated into Disney's parks and experience business in some way. So, this is pretty big news. This is Disney, one of the biggest studios in, well, the country, yes, but obviously in the industry. And they are being very loud about how they plan to use AI in the very near future. Right now, it seems like they're just focusing on visual effects, but obviously once the tech gets better, they will be using it a lot more than that. This is just them getting their feet wet. This is just the beginning. This is Disney announcing, hey, yes, we definitely plan on using AI, and we are not going to be shy about it. So we already heard about other studios planning to use it, like Lionsgate. Like, if you guys remember, Lionsgate is actually having AI, like, help them decide what movies to even greenlight. Like, there's a whole, like, movie executive AI over at Lionsgate right now, which is really interesting. So, AI is taking over the industry. It's very weird, very new territory here. Don't know how it's going to make the movies look quite yet. I do think AI is a little bit still uncanny, but they're planning on using it, so let's see if we can spot it in like a future movie. Like maybe if we can start like spotting things that look sort of AI generated, because it looks like we're going to start seeing more and more of that in our movies going forward. How do you guys feel about this? Arvin says, let's start a visual effects strike. Well, there could have been a strike this year for the visual effects artists, but they decided not to, and they settled on an agreement. It's really unfortunate that they felt like they couldn't strike because of the strike last year, because I feel like if the strike last year never happened, I think the visual effects artists definitely would have striked. Because they honestly keep getting the short end of the stick time and time again. And I think they need some sort of leverage to make change happen, and a strike could have been it, but like no one could have afforded that this year because of last year. So unfortunately they couldn't really, like, I don't think they could really push for any meaningful change, which just sucks for them. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people say this makes them nervous, this is not good. That Super says AI has already been used in visual effects. I know there has been like, there's different kinds of AI. So there's like narrow AI, which has been used in visual effects up until now. But I'm pretty sure the type of AI they're talking about here is generative AI, which is a new thing that they haven't really like experimented much with yet. So I'm pretty sure that's the kind of AI they're talking about here. LP says sometimes AI works though, but too much of it just use caution because once it starts looking too fake. Yeah, that's why I think they're just using it for visual effects right now. Like they might use it to touch up a frame or two, but they're not going to use it to generate an entire frame. I think that's the right way to use it at this point. Ethan says it seems like Disney wants their live action remakes to look even creepier. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I do think AI is still in that uncanny territory, so hopefully it doesn't make their movies look weird or off-putting. That would be really sad. Angel wants AI to replace the higher-ups. Well, they kind of are at Lionsgate, so Disney execs better watch their back. But anyway, I just had to update you guys on that because it's very important. Moving on. So, speaking of, Wicked and witches and all of that, let's talk about Agatha. I haven't really gotten to talk about my thoughts on the past 2 episodes, so I'm gonna briefly do it here. It's not gonna be a long review. So, I really, really like this show. I really like this show a lot. I think this has been one of my favorite Disney Plus shows, period. I really like these characters. I think the story is actually much smarter than I expected. Like every episode, there's more and more layers being added to the overall mythos, and it's just making like previous episodes seem even like more interesting in retrospect, especially this last episode as we got, more information from Mira's character and like how her whole like sorry, not Mira. I meant Lila. I don't know why I said Mira. Lila's character. And how like her whole life has kind of been like affecting this story so far as well. And it's very smart writing. I really like it. It's super campy. Oh my god, this has to be the gayest, most campiest show Disney has made yet. And I don't say that lightly. I literally think it's the mostest of anything Disney has put out. And I'm really liking it. I'm really, really liking it. I like that they're not afraid to really go there. I love the costumes. I think they look incredible. I love the green makeup and the hats. I love the set design, and like I love how each episode is very different from each other. I like how like they keep going back to like the TV show motifs. It's just very, very smart writing, and I'm not surprised that the viewership is actually going up. Sorry about the lighting. Oh my god, the lighting is going crazy. Let me see if this will help. I just saw a tweet that said that like the views for this episode were actually higher than the views for the first episode. So the views are actually going up, and that doesn't happen with most Disney Plus shows. So that just shows you that people are actually enjoying this show. So I'm really happy with it. Are you guys watching Agatha? If so, what are your thoughts? Yeah, I think Patty could get an Emmy. I think this episode is good enough that like she could submit this for Emmy consideration. Arvin says, yeah, that was a good line. If you want a straight answer, ask a straight lady. I thought that was funny. Nicholas says, seriously, are you saying it's not for an old straight guy? When did I say that? Just because I said it's gay doesn't mean it's not for old straight guys. Old straight guys can watch this too, if you just have an open mind. Nicholas says, Brittany, with that lighting, you need to be a villain monologue. I don't know why this... I do know why. It's because the sun is, like, directly, like, at such an angle that it's, like, filtering through my blinds, and I can't fix it. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm going to have to figure out what to do with my lighting. I'm seeing everyone's loving it. Honestly, it's not getting the kind of hate you would expect for such a diverse show, which I think just proves that the show is actually really good, because there's not much you can really critique. Yeah, this is really good. And I think this also just proves that the Acolyte, a lot of that, like, I think a lot of the negativity around the Acolyte truly was coming from the fact that the show was just not good. I don't think that show was good at all. I think it was pretty bad from, like, even from episode 1. Like, with Agatha episode 1, I was like, oh, this is good. I think this is going somewhere. But even in the Acolyte, I was like, oh, this is rough. I really think that just shows you, like, you can do really diverse shows, but they just have to be good. I don't think Acolyte was ever good enough to make all of that stuff, like, stick really well. Whereas this show is good, so I think that's why it's going over really well, and people aren't fighting about how gay it is or anything like that. Check Santo says, it's so good, the last episode almost had me in tears. Yeah, it's very emotional. It's a very good follow-up to WandaVision. I will fully agree. But anyway, let's move on. So, the news, I know you guys were all wondering, is Lord Farquaad going to be in Shrek 5? Well, we don't know. We don't know. John Lithgow says he hasn't been asked to return. What? How can you have Shrek 5 and not have Lord Farquaad? Lord Farquaad should not only be in this movie, but he should be the main villain. Let's go full nostalgia, right? Let's go full nostalgia. Maybe it's been like years later, right? And Lord Farquaad wants to reclaim his glory, and he thinks he can do that by taking down Shrek once more. There's your pitch! There's your pitch! It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. I just need Lord Farquaad there. It's not... I just don't know if it'll be the same if he's not. Does anyone else feel this strongly, or are you guys like, I don't care about Lord Farquaad, why are you being so serious? I just want to know, what do you guys think? You saying he died, but like, you guys aren't acting like this is a fantasy where anything can happen. I don't care! Bring him back! We need him! Exactly, fake mustache. Exactly. Maybe he finds his way out of the belly of the dragon. I don't know. Seems you guys are just like, he's dead, so he should just stay away. But I don't know. I feel like they gotta bring him back some way. Some way, somehow. They're gonna retcon it. They should. I mean, you can bring back anyone in these kind of movies. So why not? I just feel like he's very important to the story, so he's gotta be there. And I've already said, I know he's dead, Rodney. I'm just saying they need to bring him back. But anyway, Samsy guys do not agree. What else? So, we're also getting a new Wuthering Heights movie starring Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie. Apparently, Warner Brothers has just acquired the rights, so it will be getting a theatrical release. I think this is really interesting. I really like movies that take place in that sort of like Regency era. I think this is specifically Georgian era, but I really like the more like opulent like period pieces where like women had to really dress up, and the men too. Like I really like those kinds of stories. So if we're gonna start getting more like period pieces like that again, I'd be very happy. Can we get like Keira Knightley back? She used to be a queen of those kinds of movies. I don't know. I'm really into this. I don't really care that much about Jacob Elordi. To be honest, he's not like my favorite actor or anything. But I do really like Margot Robbie. So I'll go see this. I'll see Margot Robbie in a period piece. I think that's fun. I actually think that this movie could have some potential. I see a lot of potential in this. Anyone interested in seeing a Wuthering Heights movie between Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie? Angel Barrera, thank you so much for the super chat. Lord Farquaad was a ghost and a special. He was a ghost and a special. I don't see the ghost. Maybe he'll come back as the ghost then. I just want him back. I don't care. I just want him back. I'm sure it'll be less disgusting than Saltburn. I don't think they're gonna go there in a Wuthering Heights adaptation. That super says it sounds like a flop. I don't think this sounds like a flop. I think a lot of women would want to watch this. I don't know about a lot of men. So if you're a man, maybe you're thinking about this from like a male perspective. But I think a lot of women would be interested in something like this. Yeah, Nicholas, see? Your sister loves it. Okay. Seeing only for Margot Robbie. Seeing a lot of you are just not interested, but I also wonder if this is more of like a... Like, I can see this being one of those movies that when it goes to theater, it's like 80% women. So this just might not be like a movie that appeals to men, but like, I do think that there's potential in it. Anyway, moving on. So we're also getting a sequel to Alien Romulus, which makes me so happy. I'm so happy about this. You guys know I loved Alien Romulus. I really, really wanted to see David Johnson back. He was my favorite thing in that movie, and it looks like he is coming back along with Kaylee Spaney. Really, really happy about this. I don't care at all about the Alien franchise. Like, at all. I am the definition of someone who's now a new fan to this franchise because of this movie. Because I did not care about these movies one bit before I saw this film. So, very, very interested in seeing more now. I'm now considered a new Alien fan because I want to see more from these characters. I want to see more from this universe. And I'm very, very interested. So, yeah. How do you guys feel about this? Because I know when I did review it, a lot of you guys hadn't seen it yet. Have you guys actually seen this movie now? Are you guys interested in this? Wait, Danny's not happy? Why? Madonna's happy, okay. Nicholas is like, this is just another one. Seems like not all of you are into this. Interesting. Did you guys actually watch Alien Romulus, though? Okay. Prototype says, I cared about the first two movies in the Alien Isolation video games. It seems like, I guess, if you have been watching these Alien movies for a long time, you're probably sick of them. But I'm very new to this franchise, so I'm not sick of them. Maybe that's why I'm still very excited about it. But anyway, I'm still very happy about it. I like these movies, and I'm looking forward to it. So, Tom Holland, as I said earlier in the live stream, Tom Holland has been cast in Christopher Nolan's next movie, which is coming out on July 17th, 2026. Now, there's a rumor that Christopher Nolan's next movie is going to be a vampire movie. It's just a rumor, not confirmed, but that would be interesting. It would be interesting seeing Tom Holland in a vampire movie. I actually think he'd be a good fit for that. I do. Tom Holland has been really struggling, in my opinion. Sorry, I think Tom Holland has been really struggling to pick good movies. So I think this would be like the first really big hit he'll have outside of the Spider-Man franchise. And I think that's really, really good for him. I think he's such... I don't know. I am a big Tom Holland fan. I feel like he's just like a good kid, you know? Like, I root for him because I feel like he's one of the good ones. So I'm just happy that he's finally going to be in a movie that is probably going to be very successful. And because I didn't want him to just be Spider-Man forever, and I know he didn't just want to be Spider-Man forever. So now it looks like he has something else. In fact, Tom Holland himself even agrees. He says that when the opportunity came in, it was the phone call of a lifetime. It was reminiscent of getting the call about Spider-Man 10 years ago. I'm really excited. So, to him, getting a call from Christopher Nolan was like getting the call to be Spider-Man. So, even Tom Holland knows how big of a deal this is for him. Really happy for him. Can't wait to see what this role is. I'm just happy that he finally got something big outside of Spider-Man. Are you guys looking forward to seeing Tom Holland in a Christopher Nolan film? And would you want that film to be a vampire movie? Rodney! He's no Andrew Garfield. I do like Andrew Garfield, but I don't know. Tom just has my heart for whatever reason. Okay, Aaron Lopez wants a Tom Holland sexy vampire movie. Okay. I'll take that. Alexander says, isn't Michael B. Jordan... Oh, yes, we're also getting a vampire movie between Michael B. Jordan and directed by Ryan Coogler as well. Yes, so we're getting a lot of vampire movies. I think vampires are in the middle of a resurgence right now. I'm not complaining, though. I love me some vampires, so that is not a problem for me. Okay. Prototype, I actually think Tom Holland is 28. I actually think he's starting to look older. Like, I agree. Like, even in Uncharted, as I was just saying, he looked like a kid in that movie. But I do think, like, recently, like, within the past, like, 2-3 years, I think he has started to age a little bit. So I think he does look his age now. I do. I think he's finally, like, aged into his looks. So I think he'll be fine. Yes, he needs to be Milo Thatch. Totally agree, Danny. After he does this Christopher Nolan movie, if he is not Milo and a live-action Atlantis, Disney will be dropping the ball. Oh, Red Banana Green says he looks boring? Not boring. How does someone look boring? Anyway, I'm just happy for him. But this does create an interesting situation because now Spider-Man 4 and Christopher Nolan's next movie will release back-to-back in July of 2026. And obviously both will star him as the lead. Very, very weird that you would have Spider-Man one weekend and then you would have Christopher Nolan's movie the next. In fact, because that's happening, that means that Spider-Man won't even get, like, a lot of the, like, the premium screens, like IMAX and Dolby, because obviously Christopher Nolan's going to be taking all of those. So Spider-Man's only going to get, like, IMAX for one weekend. Like, to itself. And then Christopher Nolan's going to take them all the next weekend. That's obviously going to impact how much money Spider-Man 4 can make. I actually feel like Spider-Man 4 should move. Which says a lot about the clout that Christopher Nolan has, that he can make Spider-Man move. But I really do think Spider-Man is the one that needs to move. So, I think that's weird. I don't know why they put these two movies back to back, especially with the same actor in them, but that's happening. Are you guys going to see both of these movies, or do you think you'd only see one of them? How would you plan on seeing these movies, or would you not see them at all? Nicholas says, to be fair, he managed to maintain his looks pretty long for a white guy. You're funny. Aaron says, Tom Holland is just cursed with a baby face, and that's what's holding him back. I actually think the baby face is what helps him with being Spider-Man, because he can play young for a long time. But I do think it hurts him with getting other roles. Okay. Fake mustache, you'll watch Spider-Man. Okay. You also think this is a terrible decision, though. Maybe it will be a Holland Assance. I don't know. I mean, he's going to be very busy promoting these movies, Alexander. July 2026 is going to be an extremely busy month for Tom Holland, for sure. But anyway. This means Spider-Man will now be released between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Which makes me a little bit nervous about Spider-Man 4, because as I've said repeatedly, all I want Spider-Man 4 to be is just like a down-to-earth story about Peter Parker trying to make it in Manhattan. Just much like Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire. And like maybe he runs into Miles Morales. Like that's all I want from Spider-Man 4. And I think that's what most fans want from Spider-Man 4. Like, I do not think most fans want some big out there Spider-Man movie. Like, I think Spider-Man's such a strong character in his own right. He's like that one character that really doesn't need to be attached to the multiverse at all. And his movie can still be wildly successful. I feel like if by putting this movie after Doomsday, that means we have to deal with whatever BS comes out of Doomsday. And you know Spider-Man's going to be in that movie too. So, what state the MCU is going to be in after that last Avengers movie is the state that Spider-Man's going to have to play in Spider-Man 4. And I already mean that, I think that already means that this movie is not going to be the down-to-earth Spider-Man movie that I've been wanting. And I'm a little nervous about that. In fact, I'm a lot nervous about that. So, the only thing that gives me hope is that Tom Holland, I think, agrees with me. A lot of the times when he talks about what he wants for this movie, he's just been saying he just wants Miles. Like, he doesn't, I don't think he wants this movie to be like a big multiverse movie either. So, I'm hoping that Tom can protect this character and, like, keep all this extra stuff out. But at the end of the day, I don't know how much he can really, like, control this. So, who knows? But what do you guys think? Yes, boy, there's two Avengers movies. There's Avengers Doomsday, and then there's Avengers Secret Wars. And, of course, Robert Downey Jr. will be playing Doomsday. So, we don't really know how that works, or why he's doing that. So yeah. A lot to learn. A lot to learn. Danny says, why are the wars a secret, though? I guess we'll learn. Rodney says this will be a big mess. I hope not. I really hope not. Truly. I love Spider-Man enough that I don't want them to mess him up. Yeah, this is a lot of Marvel. This is a lot of Marvel. I do wonder if these Avengers movies will still do as well as they're expected to do. I mean, I think having Robert Downey Jr. and Spider-Man in them does help. But I do wonder if, like, I don't know. Like, the bar is super high. Like, Avengers Endgame became the highest grossing movie of all time at one point. I don't think either of these movies are going to come close to that. So, but we'll see. We'll see. Moving on. These are the next couple of MCU movies, by the way, just so we're all clear. So we have Captain America 4, that's the very next one. It comes out on Valentine's Day next year. Then we have Thunderbolts coming out May 2nd. Fantastic Four, July 25th. And then in 2026, we have Avengers Doomsday, the next Spider-Man, and then Avengers Secret Wars comes out in 2027. So these are the next movies. Now, I don't know where Armor Wars fits into this, because if you guys remember, like, the Armor Wars TV show that they said they were turning into a movie, I don't know where that movie comes into play, if that movie's coming out at all, or if it's not coming out until after Secret Wars, which means it might not come out till, like, 2027, 2028. And if that's the case, why the heck did they even announce it? So I don't know. But I would say these are the for sure happening, the only confirmed movies that are like definitely coming out within the next few years. So this is the schedule. Are you guys excited by this schedule? Are you looking forward to these movies? Are there any movies that you're like, I don't care about this? What do you think? Aaron, you're not excited for any of these. Okay. Cheetah Viper is also not excited. Oh yeah, and Doctor Strange 3 and Shang-Chi 2, I have no idea. Apparently those are supposed to be happening as well, but like, where would they fit in this schedule? Either they're not coming out for a very long time, or they're just not happening at all. Okay, Arvin thinks the Armor Wars has now been merged with the Vision show? I don't know. We'll see, though. Oh yeah, what happened to Ironheart? Ironheart had like a whole series that was made. Like, when is that getting released? Du Bois says, I've kind of given up on Marvel. It's just so confusing now. And Endgame served as such a good conclusion. If I hear about something really good, I'll try it, but I'm kind of done following each film. I mean, I don't blame you. It's just, I don't think there's an overarching story right now that makes any sense. So I don't blame you in feeling lost. It's just a shame that they allowed this to happen, because Marvel had everyone in a chokehold like 5 years ago. It's just crazy like how much has changed in just 5 years. But anyway, moving on. So, we're also, well, I won't say it's been canceled, but it has been heavily delayed. So, do you guys remember the Rey Star Wars movie that they were working on with Daisy Ridley? Well, the writer, Stephen Knight, he just left. We don't know what happened, if he was fired or if he decided to leave on his own, but he's no longer on the project. Which means that the film will very likely not make its heavily rumored release date for December 2026. So, will this movie actually happen? That's what I wanted to ask you guys, because if you have been paying attention to Star Wars at all, you know that there have been multiple Star Wars movies that have been canceled over the years, or have been announced but have been delayed but secretly canceled. There's a whole list right here, and I'm sure there's even more that aren't mentioned. It's kind of getting ridiculous. Kathleen Kennedy needs to be fired. This isn't even a sexist statement. She's just objectively bad at her job at this point. I don't understand how she's able to go through all of these projects, have all of these problems, never seem to come together with anything. It seems like the only time Kathleen Kennedy gets along with the talent that she's working with and has no problems working on a film or a TV show is when that film or TV show turned out to be something that the fans, the audience, absolutely rejects. Think about it. When they were making The Last Jedi, they thought they were making something so incredible that they greenlit a Rian Johnson trilogy before they even released the movie, because they thought everything was going so well. There were no problems on that movie, and look at how that turned out. There were no problems. Well, there were some production problems with The Acolyte, but she never fired Leslie Headland or any of the other, creatives behind the project, like she did with so many other projects. And look at how The Acolyte turned out. I just think it's her judgment. I think her taste and what she likes about Star Wars is very different from what the audience likes about Star Wars. And I just think she needs to go. I think she needs to go. And I'm not really sure if this Rey movie will ever see the light of day. Especially since the director is on camera saying things like she likes making men feel uncomfortable. I mean, that's just like the biggest bait right there. Like, I don't see how this movie gets made. I don't think it should get made, because I don't think it'd be successful anyway. No matter who's writing it. But what do you guys think? Are you actually looking forward to a Rey movie? How do you feel about this? Nicholas says, Last Jedi is my favorite of the sequels, but it ruined the trilogy ultimately. Honestly, me too. As someone who's not like a diehard Star Wars fan, I remember watching that movie coming out of the theater thinking that I liked it more than The Force Awakens. But I can see objectively, from like a business perspective, how that movie ruined everything. Like, it just ruined everything. So it doesn't even matter how I feel about it personally. Just the chain of events of what that movie sparked, not just for Lucasfilm, not just for Star Wars, but literally for like fandom in general and the entire entertainment industry. So much stems from the failure of that movie, at least like with fans, that it's just not worth it. That movie was not worth it. Doesn't matter how you and I feel about that movie. Objectively, that movie was a failure just for all that happened after that. But yes, totally agree. It ruined the franchise. Fake Mustache says this is gonna flop if it gets released. Yeah, the only other Star Wars movies that they're considering releasing is The Mandalorian and Grogu. And I also think that could flop because I don't feel like people are as into The Mandalorian as they were just like 5 years ago. Or 4 years ago. So, yeah, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to do very well. What in the world? Oop. Sorry. That was actually my phone. I don't know how it turned on. Ethan Bell says, God, it sounds like you're saying The Force Awakens was the death of cinema. Not The Force Awakens. The Last Jedi. Not The Force Awakens. The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi is the one that lit the match. I'm telling you, I feel like I could write an entire book about how that one movie just derailed, like, the entire industry. I really feel like it's that, like, I feel that strongly about it. Danny says the Rey character is not even that interesting. Yeah, she was never, like, written that well to begin with. Like, I feel like they could make an entire Rey movie and we'd learn, like, tons of new things about her, because it's not like we really knew her to begin with. Yeah, Ethereal Dragon's not looking forward to anything until Kathleen's gone. I feel like that's how most fans are. I'm just shocked she's still there. I'm really shocked she's still there. But anyway, moving on. Last thing I wanted to bring up was that Blade has been delayed indefinitely. The film no longer has a release date. So, this is so sad. I was really genuinely looking forward to this movie. If you guys remember, this was starring, or going to star, Mahershalla Ali. He really wanted to do this. He was excited about it. And this was announced in like 2019? Like, this was announced a long time ago. And like, it just kept getting delayed. Like, they kept having like writers that they had to let go. At one point, like, it was leaked that one writer wanted to make the movie entirely about his daughter. And like, had no action. And like, this movie just had like so many problems from the get-go. And it's just a shame that it's no longer even like dated. Apparently they haven't canceled it yet. They're not saying it's canceled. It's just delayed indefinitely because they have no idea when it's going to come out. And just going back to the release date schedule that I was showing you, where would you even fit a Blade movie into this schedule? Like, no wonder it's delayed indefinitely. If we're getting a Blade movie, it's probably not coming out till like 2027, 2028. At this rate, like, how would you cram it into this lineup when you have several Avengers movies and a Spider-Man movie to make? I just don't see it happening. And they just strung Mahershala Ali along for years. And like, I just don't see it happening. I think it's unfortunate for everyone involved, and I think it's embarrassing for Mahershala Ali. And I'm surprised that Marvel, who I think actually usually treats their talent well, for the most part, I'm surprised that they would treat Mahershala Ali so badly. Like, publicly. That surprises me the most out of all of this. But what do you guys think? Are you upset about Blade being canceled? Do you not care? What do you think? Rodney says Mahershala Ali, I think, has another Jurassic film next year. Yes, he's going to be in the next Jurassic World movie. So at least he has something. But it's also Jurassic World. So you guys know my feelings about that franchise. I don't think I need to explain it more. Arvin says they have to save it for the reboot after Secret Wars. That might be what they're saving it for at this point. Because I think it would have to come out after Secret Wars, right? So I don't. If we are getting a Blade movie, it's not coming out anytime soon. Mythical Phoenix Heart doesn't care. Neither does Natanya. Oh, you prefer Wesley's Blade? Well, since he was so popular in Deadpool, they can make a movie with him instead. But I feel like that would also be a slap in the face to Mahershala. So I don't know. It's like, sorry, Mahershala, I know we've been stringing you along for several years saying we'd make this movie. But at the last minute, we decided we're going to make it with someone else. Like, that would suck. Okay, not enough of you care about this. Alright. Well, I had to bring it up. I thought it was interesting. I just... It shows you the state that Marvel's in at the moment, and it's not good. Not good at all. But anyway, that's the last thing for today. Thank you all so much for being on my show. Sorry for all of the tech issues, as usual. Thank you all for just, like, constantly being here and supporting the show. Really appreciate it. I will see you guys next Sunday for the next show. Yeah, have a great week. I'll see you then.